Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to what I hope will be a wonderful evening. What a great turnout this weekend. I appreciate all of you being here. Anyway, we have a delicious meal in store for you and a great speaker this evening. That being said, I'd like to introduce your Enlisted Association President, Chief Master Sergeant Retired David Morris.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Enlisted Association of Georgia and the Georgia leaders, especially Georgia Senior Enlisted Leader Roy Marchart and Command Chief of the state, Linda Washington, we hope you all have a fantastic evening. We thank the past and present members, we want to thank the past and present members who in the armed service this evening, but more important, as always, is something I always believe in, is we want to thank the spouses that are here this evening, both in attendance tonight and those that are not here, as we want to recognize the facts. We would not be the soldiers or airmen we are without you and the support and dedication you give each and every one of us. And for that, I thank you. And we all should. So with that being said, let's get the ball rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and direct your attention to the Youth Challenge Color Guard for the presentation of the colors. Color Guard, post the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we thank you for the purpose of this event, for the rich traditions it represents and the persons who make it possible. We pray that the time we share together will draw us closer together as individuals and as an organization. We give you thanks for the food and the fellowship that is ours to enjoy. And we ask these blessings in your holy name. Amen.
Everybody, please be seated. And I just want to give a special thanks to Miss Neely Webster, who was singing the national anthem for us. Amazing. All right, so now we're at a fun part of the evening. So I want to welcome everybody, and we're going to get into reading the roll call of the units. And I will lead the roll call, and we're going to pay tribute to all of our units and warriors to make up the Georgia National Guard. How this is going to work is that I'm going to announce each air wing, followed by the band is going to play the Air Force song. Then I'll announce each of the major Army commands, again, followed by the band playing the Army song. So when you hear your wing or command called that you're associated with, please stand up, make some noise, let us know you're in the house. So, are we ready? All right, yeah, come on, are we ready? All right, we're going to start with the air headquarters and air staff of the Georgia Air National Guard. Stand up. It's a little bit of, gonna have some lights. I want to see these people standing to be recognized. Also, the 116th Air Control Wing. There they are. Thank you, lights. The 165th Airlift Wing. Yes. The Air Dominance Center. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Air Force song to honor the airmen of your Georgia Air National Guard. Thank you. Please be seated. All right. Now, for the Georgia Army National Guard. Ready? Army headquarters and the Army staff of the Georgia Army National Guard. All right. 78th Aviation Troop Command. The only unit at 100% this year and for the 6th consecutive year. Yay! The 78th Troop Command. 648th Maneuver Enhancement Brigade. 201st Regional Support Group. And the 48th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stand for the Army song to honor the soldiers of your Georgia Army National Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. And at this time, let's take a moment and remember our brothers and sisters that are currently deployed. We have nearly 2,300 members in harm's way. I'm going to read the groupings of those that are supporting us now from downrange. Task Force Volunteer, 48th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. HHC, 1st of the 171st Aviation Battalion. Alpha, 1st of the 171st Aviation Battalion. Delta, 1st of the 171st Aviation Battalion. 161st Military History Detachment. 221st, EMIB, and the 165th Quartermaster Company. Also the 116th Air Control Wing and the 165th, the Wing, the Operations Group, the Medical Group, the Logistics Readiness Squadron, the Air Support Operations Squadron, the Communications Flight, the Civil Engineer Squadron, and our Security Forces Squadron. We want everyone to know your association appreciates each and every airman, soldier, civilian, and military family member that serves in our Georgia National Guard. And our folks just returned from the deployment. Welcome home. Thank you to all that you support and service.
Those who have served and those currently serving the uniformed services of the United States are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace has always been tainted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. Remember, we should never forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are those who have endured and may still be enduring the agonies of pain, deprivation, interment. Remember, before we celebrate this evening, let's pause to recognize the sacrifice of our nation's prisoners of war and those who remain missing in action. Remember, as you enter the banquet hall this evening, you may have noticed a small table in the place of honor. It is set for one. This table is our way of symbolizing the fact that members of our profession of arms are missing from our midst. They are commonly called POWs or MIAs. We call them brothers. They are unable to be with us this evening, and so we remember them. This table set for one small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his oppressors. Remember, the tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The single red rose in the vase reminds us of the family and friends of our missing comrades who keep the faith while awaiting their return. The yellow ribbon on the vase represents the yellow ribbons worn on the lapels of thousands who demand with unyielding determination of a proper accounting of our comrades who are not among us tonight. A slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of their bitter fate. The salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. The chair is empty. They are not here. The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captures to the open arms of a grateful nation. Remember, let us pray to the Supreme Commander that all of our comrades will soon be back within our ranks. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifices. May God forever watch over them and protect them and their families.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and continue with your meal. We have something a bit different this evening that I certainly hope you'll enjoy. You're going to be both entertained and inspired. If there's anything troubling you, if you just need a pick-me-up, get ready for a message delivered via the best-known medicine, laughter. Please give a warm Georgia National Guard welcome to Mr. Ken Kington.
Wow. It is an honor to be with you guys tonight. I have performed nationwide, but I love to ask this. How many of you before this moment have never seen me before in your entire life? Raise your hands. That is so awesome because I've never seen you before either. If you listen to satellite radio, to any of the comedy channels, I'm one of those played comics on satellite radio. I love that. I've been on Comedy Central, and that's all great. But let me tell you, over 30 years of performing, I've worn a tux several times, but I have never worn a tux and be the least dressed man in a room. So this is just such an honor. And if nothing else, hear this. Thank you. Thank you for what you do and how you do it. Because I know it's not easy, just every part of life. And as I've gotten older, and I am getting older, and it is not fun to get older. I did not pick this hair, okay? My wife, very sweet, she's like, the other day I come back from a haircut, she goes, oh, I love your hairdo. And I'm like, okay, men don't have hairdos. We just get haircuts. And she's like, no, it's like a little faux hawk. I'm like, I don't have a faux hawk. And then I looked in the mirror, I'm like, oh, it looks like a sad little faux hawk. I told her it's not a faux hawk, just the hair that's left is going, stay together, stay together. We got a better chance. And it is totally out of jealousy. Now I got to ask this. How many men here tonight are married? Let me see your hands real quick, gentlemen. Every one of them will vouch for me, ladies. It amazes us how much hair you can lose and have any left on your head whatsoever. We take the second shower. We go to turn on the water. It's like, holy cow. There's a small toupee down in the drain. It's like, is that a hamster? What is that? And it's not easy getting older, but as I've gotten older, I've learned a ton. And I've learned that I need my wife. And I know that because of what you do, you need one another. And I just want to thank you for that sacrifice. Now, I am a little bit different. A long tour for me, a long deployment is 7 to 10 days. And see, my wife actually, at the end of the year, I'm usually home for about 2 or 3 weeks in a row. And at the end of that time, she'll go, when's your next tour? I said, well, it's in about a week. Why? She goes, I need you to leave so I can miss you. I'm like, okay, I get that. But I got to say, on a personal note, my younger brother, just retired in December from the Georgia Air National Guard. And yes, thank you for you guys. So I've had a taste of what that is. But as I get older, it's about being together. And just this time and you coming here is just invaluable. I hope you realize the value of this time. Because together is what it's about. And not only that, but as a family. My wife, younger than I am is catching up to me a little bit with the whole aging part. We went to a movie the other night. We get up, we're leaving, and she's like, oh, my back. Oh, my back. I'm like, you okay? She goes, no, my back, it hurts. And I said, yeah, that's happened to me before. She goes, no, I don't think you understand. It really hurts. And I was like, yeah, it's happened to me. She goes, no, all I did was sit there, and now it hurts. And I said, yes, I asked the doctor about it last time I was there. She goes, what did he say? Now, you have to understand, my wife is a recovering hypochondriac. And I am a comedian. With the straightest face I could pull, I said, well, he told me it was the early stages of OLD. I'm not making this up. She's like, oh my goodness, what's that? And I was like, you're getting old there, Buttercup. That's what that is. Now, I got to tell you this, ladies, I do not know the female version to this, but gentlemen, when this happens, you are officially old. The other night, I pulled a muscle in my leg. Sleeping. Have you had that one yet? 3 a.m, just, oh man! Oh. I went to walk to the bathroom. I looked like a newborn deer, just, oh. I shared that at a show the next week. This 20-something kid came up. He goes, hey man, great show. I'm like, thanks. He goes, you know what that is, right? I said, no. He goes, you got to hydrate. You're dehydrated. Just before you go to bed, hydrate. I said, dude, I just turned 50. I hydrate before bed. I'm peeing 9 times that night, all right? Yeah. Won't you go do some push-ups or something, all right? But as I'm getting older, I realize that without my wife, I would literally be nowhere close to what I've been blessed to do and what I love to do. And I know that families are like that because I want you to hold up the number of children if you have children. Does anybody have children? Yes. We need help. My wife and I are very different, but I'll tell you my least favorite phrase as a dad, I might have. Driving my sons to school in February about 5 years ago, I hear out of the back seat about halfway there, uh-oh. I'm like, what do you mean, uh-oh? He said, I might have forgot something. Now, before I tell you, anybody over here, February cold, driving to school, anybody want to take a guess what he might have forgotten? Who said shoes? Do you know my son? He said, I might have forgot my shoes. I said, well, look on your feet. Do you see anything on your feet? And he's like, no, sir. And I'm like, at what point do you walk outside across a cold concrete floor and not have the mental thought, there's nothing on my feet? This is the same son. His bedroom is in the basement. I walked down that winter. I walked down and I can see my breath. It is so cold. He is on the couch in a quilt cocoon. You can see his eyes and fingertips holding an Xbox controller. I said, dude, it's freezing down here. And out of the quilt I hear, I know, right? I said, why don't you turn the heat up? I don't know how. I said, let me get this straight. You can operate 27 buttons simultaneously. But that box on the wall with 2 buttons, that confuses you. And he's like, I know, right? I'm telling you, we need help. And you need help, and we need each other. And I know that it can be frustrating because we are different. And I know that you get to deal with that on a whole different level, that differences. But let me tell you, I understand that. And just like in a home, now if you're married, I understand also because my wife and I are very opposite. I drive her crazy because I am OCD. I believe I was meant to be in the military. I just missed it. Because I'm OCD. Everything has a place, everything in its place. You come to my house, my closet, darkest to lightest short sleeve, darkest to lightest long sleeve, pants in the right order. And I have to be that way. Well, if I have OCD, which she calls it, my wife has a condition I call GILD. Get it later disorder. My wife has this. I'll give you the perfect example of GILD. I went to the bathroom the other night. I know where the bathroom is. We lived there 15 years. She has left the drawers to her sink open. In the middle of the night, I'm walking and just, oh, God. Got a gash in my leg. The next morning, I'm brushing my teeth. She walks in. She goes, "What was that noise?" I said, "Baby, you left the drawers to your sink open." Now, if you're married to somebody with GILD, here is the phrase you will hear repeatedly. She said, "I didn't have time. I was in a hurry. I didn't have time." You didn't have time to push in your drawers. And I said, "You got a stopwatch on your iPhone. I want you to time this. Ready, go." How long was that? I didn't have time. I had a scratchy throat, went downstairs to get a drink one night. It was dark. I know where the cabinet is. Went to open it, didn't need to. It was already open. And just leaned in. Oh, God. Got my drink, went back to bed, woke up the next morning to the most blood-curdling scream I've ever heard. I'm just laying there asleep. It's like, ah! I'm like, what? And she's looking at me. She goes, "Oh, what's wrong? What happened to you?" And I'm like, what? And I look. I'm laying in a pool of blood. I got up. I look. I have a goose egg on my head with a gash in the middle, blood all the way down one side of my face. She said, "Well, just what happened?" I said, "Baby, you left the cabinet door downstairs open." I didn't even get to say open, just open. She was like, "I didn't have time. I just didn't have time." She goes, "I feel like I frustrate you. I just feel like I frustrate you." And I'm like, baby, you do, okay? You frustrate the crud out of me sometimes. But I said, "Honey, but here's the deal. It's like 2% of the time." I said, 98% of the time, I love everything about you. You are everything I am not. You are spontaneous. I am a planner. I can be spontaneous. I just need a couple days to plan for it. I said, "You are everything I'm not. I obey rules that do not exist." Is anybody else like this? Anybody married to somebody like this? We're coming back from vacation. I came out of the bathroom and the gas clicked. It's full. And she just takes it out. I'm like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" She goes, "It's full." I said, "You got to round it up." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "You round it up to the next dollar." She said, "Why?" I'm like, "Because it's the law. That's why." I mean, I don't know why. She goes, "Well, I feel like I frustrate you." I said, "Baby, I know." She goes, "Well, you frustrate me too." And I'm like, "Baby, I know. Because I'm OCD, but you got to start looking at the bright side of that." The bright side of OCD, baby, I said, "Here's the deal. I can't walk through the kitchen if there are dishes. I have to do them. That's the way I'm wired." Ladies, I vacuum without being asked because I like the lines and how they look. Okay, that's just me. And you can ask my wife, this is true at my house. I wash, soften, dry, fold, and iron all the laundry in our house. Okay, I know, right? Thank you. There's several guys looking at me like, "I'm going to kick your tail after this." I get that. But you got to understand this. I'm self-aware. And I'm aware that I'm below average looking, okay? But I'm going to tell you this. For about half the women here tonight, I just became one of the sexiest men alive, all right? I'm just saying. But we got to get to that point where we realize we need each other. And we got to get to that point where we realize, you know what? We're in this together. And that's why I so love this organization and this time. Is because you're around each other. Are you the same? No. Are you perfect? No. But you got this heart to serve. And you got a heart to serve and say, you know what? I'm going to be part of the solution. I'm going to be part of what's good in our society. I have a friend, I'll call him Bill, because that's his name. And Bill was an officer in the Air Force, and I asked him one of my favorite two questions anytime I'm around successful people, and I get to be there all the time. I said, Bill, is there one truth or principle you've learned in life that's made all the difference? As an officer, he says, as a young officer, Ken, I'll never forget this. I was a lieutenant. Base commander called me and he'd put me over a project. It was behind schedule and above budget. He said, I spent the entire night before and I had my manuals. I had all the answers for him. He says, but I walked into the office ready for the meeting. He says, Lieutenant, he says, can I ask you one question? And he said, my mind's racing through all the questions he could ask. And he said, yes, sir. He says, are you a thermostat or are you a thermometer? He said, excuse me, sir? He says, are you a thermostat or are you a thermometer? He said, sir, I'm sorry, I don't understand. He says, well, now thermometer, it's got a death grip on the obvious. It can tell you the temperature of a room. Now a thermostat, though. Thermostat, it's got a thermometer in it, but it's connected to resources. And it sets to what is optimal. And it uses whatever resources it takes until optimal is reality. And he says, let me ask you again, are you a thermostat or are you a thermometer? He says, I'm a thermostat, sir. He said, as you were. See, he wasn't interested. And see, every one of you is a thermostat. And I just want to say thank you for being that. Because there's plenty of people in our world that can tell you what's wrong, but there's not a lot that can say, you know what? I'm going to be a part of what's right. And I'm going to be a part of doing this together. And I'm going to be a part of what makes this country great and makes our state great. And I am so thankful that I got the privilege to come share that with you tonight, because I don't know if you realize this. How many of you enjoyed dinner tonight? Did you enjoy dinner? Give them a hand. That was fantastic. I'll tell you what I love about this dinner tonight after I tell you this simple fact. Do you realize we live in a society with more choices than any other society in the history of the world? Do you realize that? If you doubt me, let me ask you a question. When's the last time you sat in front of a TV with a remote control and went through 900 channels and there was nothing on? There's too many choices, and they're inventing new ones every day. My kids every October mock me with this. They come up, Dad, here's your favorite candy. It's a candy, a tube of candy. It's been out about 12 years now. Mini M&Ms. Have you seen them? Yes. Why? Why did we need that choice? Were people sitting around eating regular M&Ms going, oh, dang, I can't finish a whole one. I just wish they would make them smaller. I'm going to put that in some foil, eat the rest of that later. That'll be great. There's too many choices. But in the midst of that choices, every one of you had dinner. I tell you, I love the meal. It was great. But what I really loved was that we didn't have to do what every one of you, I guarantee you, in the last 30 days has done. You've been in a car with a spouse, a friend, or a coworker, and you have had this conversation. So what do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want? I don't care. What do you feel like? I don't know. What do you want? How about pizza? I don't want that. I thought you said it didn't matter. You can drive around for days. You finally get to a restaurant, there's more choices. Would you like it inside or outside, a table or booth, high top, low top, more choices. Now they try to, once you finally sit down, they give you a book full of choices. Now they do try to help you in the mode, like you get that choice-making, decision-making going. The first question they ask when you sit down at a restaurant is, would you like something to drink? Because most people have a favorite drink. Like, sir, what's your favorite drink? Diet Coke. Diet Coke, very good. What's yours? Water. That's your favorite drink. She's a wild one, isn't she? That's great. That's awesome. I love water. That's healthy. That's good. Now, my favorite drink is sweet iced tea. Does anybody else like iced tea? Yes. Now, here's my problem. Outside the South, you cannot get sweet iced tea. They'll very condescendingly go, oh, it's all unsweet, but there's sugar on the table. And if you drink sweet tea, you know sugar does not dissolve in cold tea. It's like a snow globe. You stir it up. It's like drinking unsweet tea till that last sip. Oh, wow. But I love sweet tea, so I started using the sweeteners. I used the pink ones, and a buddy goes, "Oh, you know that causes cancer in lab rats." I said, "Do I look like a rodent to you or something?" Okay. So I used the blue ones, and another friend goes, "Oh, you know that kills brain cells, causes short-term memory loss." Okay, so you know what I do now? I use one of each. Somebody starts to say something, I go, "Hey, if I get cancer, I don't want to know about it. Okay, just leave me alone. I just want my tea." But with all those choices, I want to leave you this mental picture, if I could. Just the idea of why you're here and what you do is not only the right thing, but it's to get better. And I want to get better. I really do. Now, that's the last time I'll ask you this, but how many men here tonight have been married for over 5 years? Over 5 years. All right. Because about 5 years, ladies, I've learned this. We learn to discern your screams. About 5 years, you realize there's a difference between I am in mortal danger and I am completely overreacting. 5:17 in the morning, about 3 years ago, I heard the overreacting scream. 5:30 in the morning. And now I got a choice. Do I pretend I did not hear that? And she screamed again, and I'm like, okay, now I got to do something. So I walk into the bathroom. I open the doors. The light hits me. My wife is on the sink, towel half around her, bathrobe half around her, sees me and begins to scream, "It was you, it was this big, it was a rat, I'm like, okay. I'm trying to just wake up and discern. I'm like, "It was this big?" She goes, "It was this big." And I was like, okay, that's a cat, all right? I'm like, all right, but I'll look. I want to validate it. I'm looking around the shower. I'm like, "You sure it wasn't like your hair in the drain or something?" But no, I'm looking. I say, "Baby, it's gone. Whatever it was, it's gone." She goes, "Okay, are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes." But I want to validate her. I said, "But I'll get traps and I'll put them out today." She goes, "Okay." That night, the next morning, I woke up right before her alarm went off. I went to the bathroom. I hydrated the night before. And I go to pick up the toilet seat. As I pick it up, I saw something I have never seen before. In our toilet was a mouse floating there. Now, when I say floating, I don't mean like in a chair with a drink and an umbrella. It was more like a mob hit. Just that time she walked up. And I couldn't help it. I said, "Honey, did you put him there?" She jumped 3 feet. She goes, That's him. What is he doing? I'm like, "Floating, pretty much." She said, "Why is he in there?" And I said, "Well, I think he heard you scream. Felt really badly about that. Couldn't live with the guilt. Ended it all. That's what I'm going with." She said, "Do you think there's any more?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but I put out the traps." That night, 3 seconds after my head hit the pillow, pow! She was like, "What was that?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I will go look. Why are we whispering?" I walked into the closet. We have a crawl space. I open the door, flip on the light. There he is. I mean, right in the middle. There's his brother right there. I'm like, okay. I'm not going to traumatize her, so I'm going to leave him here. I'll get him in the morning. Turn out the light. I'm going back to bed. As I'm walking back to bed, my wife was like, "Was there another one?" And I'm not going to lie to her. I said, "Yes." And I'm not making this up. She goes, "What did he look like?" Look like? I said, "I can tell you exactly what he looked like. He looked like, oh, look, peanut butter." That's what he looked like. Now I give myself a B, maybe a B plus. But I want to get better. And if I can plant this one seed of 2 words in your mind, it's about doing it together and getting better. That's it. And thank you for doing what you do. Continue to do it together. Continue to get better. We learn from each other. And I thought and I prayed, how do I get better in my marriage? And I believe this was a divine revelation, because this year I made it a commitment. To validate my wife, I'm going to match her level of emotion in every situation to let her know we are together. Next time I hear the scream, I'm bursting through the doors. My lady, I have heard your cry. Your prince is here. For what vexes thee? For if it vexes thee, it vexes me. For our hearts are one. Then I shall hunt down this rat roach beast of crawl space. Then I shall vanquish him, and I will end this reign of fear in our castle. And then we will return to the marriage chamber. And we will lie on the wedding bed. And we will do what lovers of 20 years do. We will bask in the glow of our television. For at least 10 minutes before falling asleep. But sleep does not end our love. No, for our love is enriched in slumber. For even as we sleep, you hearken unto me. And I beckon back. And when we awake to this enriched love, our lips, like magnets, are drawn. And as they touch ever so gently, we realize simultaneously that we share the breath of a dead camel. And we return to the room where the rat roach beast once ruled. And we brush our teeth. And as we brush, I see your reflection in the pools of brown that are your eyes. And they speak to me and they say, I married that. And I see you in all of your naturalness. And it's then that we realize this is true love. And here's the deal. Life is messy, and it is not easy, but it is simple. That when we literally realize that, you know what, the best comes when we do it together, and we do it to get better. We will become who we are meant to be. Thank you for doing what you do and how you are meant to be. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the President of the National Guard Association of Georgia, Colonel Alexander McLemore!
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, so apparently every NGAGA president has to have a theme song, and I couldn't come up with one. Greg threw one out there last year, and it didn't fit very well. So that's actually my alarm. So when I get up in the morning, that's what plays, and that's the only thing I could think of. Anyway, it's going to be tough to follow Mr. Kington. That was amazing. Thank you to Neely. Thank you to the band. Thank you to everyone. What I'll do now is I'll officially call this portion of the business session to order. What I want to start with is first of all, I'd like to recognize a group that wasn't recognized in this forum. We recognized them this morning. We've got some guests all the way from beautiful Georgia with us in the house this evening. Let's give them a hand, coming all this way to spend time with us. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. And I wanted to point them out because they could have very well fit in what E.B. Baker mentioned earlier in regards to deployment. So currently, the Georgian Ministry of Defense has the 43rd Battalion, two companies, about 850 folks deployed to Afghanistan, some of which are serving alongside of our 48th Brigade brethren. And not just that's impressive. I mean, one of the guests here we served with in Afghanistan, General Simmons, on our tour in 2014. They've been deployed at least a battalion strength since everything kicked off in the Middle East. So between Iraq and Afghanistan, they've had at least a battalion deployed. They've been our largest contributing partner from one of the smaller countries since the very beginning. So I'm very proud to call you guys our partner. Thank you very much. All right, let's do a couple fun things. Is Chief Morris still here, or did he leave? My alarm went off, so you should be here. So it's always interesting to see who makes the effort to attend our annual conference, especially when it comes to the range of experience that's out there in the audience. So Chief Morris and I would like to poll the audience to see who's here. I'll go ahead and start with the officers. So can we turn the lights up? Not these bright things, but would all the officers commissioned within the last year please stand? If you commissioned within the last year, please stand. That was easy. Come on up. Both of them? No. Oh. So how long has it been since you commissioned? I know the answer, but I got to let her speak.
Sir, it's been 10 months.
And what's your branch?
Engineer, Essayons.
Congratulations. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. See, it pays to come to the conference, right? All right, now for the other end of the spectrum. So I'd like to gauge all the officers, active or retired, and now we're doing years of service, not how old you are, because the same person would win every year. If you have more than 30 years of service as an officer, please stand. But wait, there's more. If you have more than 35, please remain standing. Everyone else can be seated. 36. If you've got more than 37, remain standing. More than 38? More than 39. Are we down to one? We got two. More than 40. 41? All right, come on up. Do you think you can make it up here? Usher. Wait a minute. He's coming. I'll meet you halfway.
All right, now it's time for the enlisted. So all enlisted that have joined the service in the last 2 years, please stand. Three years. I know there's a few. 3 years. All right, come on up. Come on up here and tell us your name, what unit with.
My name is Sergeant Brandon Taylor. I'm with the 116th Army Band.
Thank you very much. $50.
Wow, thank you so much.
Congratulations. All right, I'm not going to do the time and service for the enlisted. I'm going to do the oldest. So for all those that are active or retired, if you're age 65, stand up, 65 or older. Or raise your hand. Thank you. I apologize. 70.
Oh, that went quick. Oh, there's two.
75. 80. 85. So the winner is a past president, Command Sergeant Major Robert Little.
You're going to take it to him, right?
And he turns 91 in August. So thank you. And I'll bring it to you. Also, before I do that, I want to make another recognition. If your name's called, please stand. I want to recognize two of our super soldiers. This year we have both the state enlisted and NCO of the year in attendance, Specialist Lucas Johnson and Sergeant Trey Green. Where are you at? All right, they're over there to the left. Both performed very well at the regional finals in North Carolina, and last month, Specialist Johnson captured second place overall. Thank you very much.
Hey, just real quick, I think he left out something. So both the actual winners came from the 201st. I'm not sure if you know, but that's the emerging new The Brigade. I just want to throw that out there. See, it does pay a little bit to be able to stand up here with a captive audience. Anyway, at this point, I'd like to ask Major Kevin Black to come up and announce this year's National Guard Association of Georgia Award winners. Major General Carden and Brigadier General Retired Kinnemer, please join me in the front.
Good evening. I'm Major Kevin Black, and it's my pleasure to present the 2019 National Guard Association of Georgia Award winners. We had some outstanding and distinguished winners this year. The first award category this evening is the Terrell T. Reddick Leadership Award. The award is presented annually in recognition of the achievements and service of the Army and Air Guard junior officers. The officers have each demonstrated outstanding leadership and professionalism in their respective service and community. Brigadier General Terrell T. Reddick, who passed away in September of 2005, served in the Georgia Army National Guard for more than 37 years and also served as president of the National Guard Association of Georgia. His warrior spirit epitomizes the role model the members of the Georgia Army National Guard and the National Guard Association of Georgia strive to emulate. This award, named in his honor, recognizes company grade officers that demonstrate the same ideals for which Brigadier General Reddick stood. Please hold your applause until the end, until all the winners have been called. Captain Edner Julian, 170th MP Battalion. Award clap now. Captain Todd Swanson, 116th Air Control Wing. Captain Swanson could not be here tonight. Colonel Robbie Key will accept the award on his behalf. Please, Colonel Key. Captain Santos Riviera, 1st of the 121st Infantry. And Captain Bryce Sherfisi, 1st of the 108th Cavalry, both of the 48th IBCT. Both are currently deployed at this time. And 1st Lieutenant McLaren, are you here? Were you able to make it? He's on his way. Yes, 1st Lieutenant McLaren will accept the awards on behalf of these two soldiers from the 48th Infantry Brigade. Let's give these outstanding young officers a big round of applause. Our next award category is the James Edward Oglethorpe Award. The Oglethorpe Award was created to recognize civic leaders, local and state officials, and other members of the community who in their positions of responsibility distinguish themselves throughout outstanding and exceptional service to the Georgia National Guard and the National Guard Association of Georgia. Please come forward when I call your name, and please hold your applause until all the winners have been called. Miss Nancy Couch. Miss Nancy Couch is a well-respected member of the greater Atlanta business community, is an ardent supporter and proponent of our soldiers and airmen. And next, Miss Harriet Morgan. Please come forward. Miss Harriet Morgan has 14 years of dedicated service to the Georgia National Guard soldiers, airmen, and their families during times of hardship. Ms. Morgan is recognized as a pillar of our community, a leader within our organization, and a true friend to our force. Let's give these ladies a big round of applause. Our final category this evening is the Georgia Minuteman Award. The Georgia Minuteman Award is the highest recognition bestowed upon an individual NGAGA member by the association. It is our highest honor and recognizes exceptional achievement, a patriotic act, a highly distinguished service, or an outstanding contribution to the military organization, community, state, nation, and to the National Guard Association of Georgia. And this year's Minuteman recipient is Brigadier General Reginald Neal.
I remember when General Simmons got it last year and previous, you're kind of speechless. Because I've seen, over 25 years in the association, so many fine leaders that have come before me receive this. You never in a million years would think that you would be a recipient. All I'll say is, we learn a lot of things in the military. Our first day in the Army that carry us through our careers. Be at the right place, the right time, the right uniform. The other thing that I always remember is my first general order. I will guard everything within the limits of my post and put my post on and properly relieve. In every position I've had, I tried to do the best in doing that position, and I didn't worry about anything else. Even, when I was at the Pentagon and I made the GO list, I said, what are you going to do now that you're on the list? I said, I'll guard everything within the limits of my post and I quit my post and properly relieve. And now I'm going on to leave the Georgia Guard for a while, and I was at a conference last week doing Georgia's business at the John Factory, doing the JDAC. And people said, I thought you were leaving. I said, I will guard everything with the limits of my post. Quit my post and properly relieve. So you do your job until it's time not to do it anymore, and do the next to your best of your ability. Thank you, sir. This is an honor.
Yep.
So we are very happy this because in this year we celebrate 25 years of cooperation. And we met the historical persons, General McCann here, and we have the friends here, General Simmons, Colonel Baker. So we have a chance to spend time together in Afghanistan. And since your support, the Georgian Defense Force had a chance to participate in the different peacekeeping operations since 1999. And we stay shoulder by shoulder together with the United States Armed Forces since 2003. It was beginning from Iraq and continuing with the ISAF operations. And we're very proud that the Georgian National Guard was the first unit who was signed the cooperation contract with the National Guard of Georgia. And as a celebration of this long-time cooperation, we want to give the small memories. And thank you very much again for the country.
Can you hear me now? We've been partners with shoulder to shoulder with the Georgians for a long time. We had everything from our bilateral exercises to just visits to learn from each other to the Georgian platoon that was with us in Afghanistan that absolutely provided our security. When we got to closing Camp Phoenix and we had to exfil, we had to leave the base. There were only about 100 of us left. Even some of our headquarters had already left us there. So it was up to the Georgians to step in and provide the guard tower manning, the ECP manning, and they basically secured a lot of the folks that you know personally so we could get home safely. And, just thinking about it now just gets me a little bit choked up. So on behalf of a grateful Georgia Army National Guard and the National Guard Association of Georgia, we thank you very much, and we very much appreciate your visit. You're always welcome here because this is your home, too. Thank you very much. Hang on, I'm getting to it. So if I could get Chief Morris up here with me one more time. He's sneaky. So I'll go ahead and start my part. So it's my pleasure now to recognize past presidents of the National Guard Association of Georgia in attendance this evening. So we're going to do it a little bit different. You're not coming up here, but please stand when I call your name. And they're in order of... what is it called when they were the first ones? Chronological order, yeah. Sorry. It was not in my script, so I couldn't remember it. So the first one is Brigadier General retired Joel Seymour. Please stand. Brigadier General retired Tom McCullough. Brigadier General retired Marshall Kinnemer. Major General retired Terry Nesbitt. Major General retired Tom Lynn. Brigadier General Steve Joyce, Major General Tom Carden, Colonel Anthony Tony the Man Poole, and Brigadier General Reginald Neal. Let's give them a huge hand. This organization owes each of you a debt of gratitude for your efforts and leadership. Thank you very much.
All right, for the enlisted association, past presidents, raise your hand or stand. Command Sergeant Major, retired Robert Little. From 1982 to 1984, Command Sergeant Major retired David Harper. From 2000 to 2002, Sergeant Major retired Jackie McKinney, 2002 to 2006. Master Sergeant retired Joe Stevens from 2006 to 2008. The Enlisted Association today thanks all of you, because without your efforts, the organization not would be what it is today. Thank you. And also, I'd like my Vice President for Army, Master Sergeant Mira Brown, to come up. A lot of you have been wondering, when is this raffle going to happen for a gun? So just to clarify, this is a Taurus G2 9mm pistol. And we thank all of your contributions. We were able to raise $1,350. And that is going to sponsor a junior enlisted to go to the National NGAGA Conference. So that is a great accomplishment. And yes, it was donated by Tactical Resolve and Rob Walker, and we're going to make sure he gets recognition for a corporate sponsor.
I've been mixing this up all day. All day. Okay. I'll let you draw, El Presidente.
Oh, I got two. One stuck. One stuck.
Aaron Holt.
You do not have to be president.
Yeah, you don't have to be president to win, so that way we can get more donations. So anyway, I will get him in touch with Major Walker, so congratulations to Aaron Holt. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, he's here.
Well, congratulations.
I also want to thank him for Holt joining the Enlisted Association as associate member. Thank you. Forgot to give my closing remarks. I just want to thank the Officers Association for NGAGA for this continued effort of our building relationship. We plan on doing more and more as far as legislation, having awards and things of that nature. We do things on the side, but expect more things of this association, because that's what we want. And we want to show the aspect of the enlisted force of what we really are, because we know that we're the bread and butter that makes all this stuff happen. But we appreciate the officers. We need got to give the order, you got to sign the paper, but we know the Corps, the enlisted, we're the ones that make things happen. Yes. But I want to thank all the committee and everybody that helped put all this together, and the people that aren't even here down in the hospitality room. I even have an officer who, Senior Master Sergeant Billy West, who sort of helps run the hospitality, and he's my secretary, and he wasn't able to come to my business session until I got to get him caught up. But, we're trying to work those things out. But there's a lot of people that aren't even in this room that we just really want to thank you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Priorities. At this time, if I could get General Kinnemer to come to the front, I'd like to ask all the National Guard Association of Georgia board members to come forward. This includes the newly elected from this morning and those currently serving in a position that still has a little bit of time left. Wherever you, right along the front. We give General Grabowski a couple minutes. I want the Air Guard to feel totally left out. He didn't hear me. That's even better. No, sir.
We just wanted to give a coin tonight. I would imagine you can count on one hand how many people have sung solo a cappella in front of hundreds. Tonight, we enjoyed two songs that are very important to us. One of them I know is important to everybody, and that's our national anthem. And tonight it was really knocked out of the park. And so I'd like to ask Miss Neely Webster to come up if she's still here. If she's not, hey, all right. Your parents didn't put you to bed. I appreciate it. Neely, General Grabowski is going to present you with a coin. We thank you so much. And Neely, normally we have to pay for this kind of stuff. So get with us next year. We'll stroke you a check. All right? Thank you.
Hey, I forgot to say, everybody that was just lined up here, you have a meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30, so welcome to the party. All right, this is it. So I think we set a record tonight. Look, it's not even 9 o'clock, and I'm getting ready to let y'all go. So it's just me holding you up. I certainly hope you all enjoyed this weekend, that you'll tell your fellow officers all about it, and maybe invite them to come next year with you. Seriously, though, spread the word. These events take an incredible amount of work to put together. I'd like to recognize the multitude of workers for their contributions. I promise this will be quick, but I really want to recognize these folks. So please call when I call your group. If they're not here, then I understand. So first I want to thank the Marriott staff, especially Mr. Keith Hensley, Miss Candace Edwards, Miss Jill Cantor, and their staff, and the staff of the PS Audio Visual. Let's give them a huge hand, because they've bent over backwards for us. I'd like to also thank the Fort Gordon Youth Challenge Academy Color Guard. Thank you so much for always doing such an impressive job. And if I could just add one more caveat, and I can, because I got to tell you guys you can leave. So Specialist Lucas Johnson, that won the Best Warrior, went to North Carolina and came in second. I'll have you know that he's a graduate of our own Youth Challenge program. And going to the Youth Challenge Gala this year, did I say that right, Gala or Gala? Depends on where you stand. But it was eye-opening to see some of the success stories. So enjoy the fact that we have one right here in our formation, and he has a huge, bright future, not just competing, rolling through the mud, and Lord knows he can't change a Humvee tire, though. He'd have been first place but for a Humvee tire, but we're proud of you. I'd like to also thank the 116th Army Band, as I always do. You know I love you guys. A lot of you used to work for me when I was in IT. Thank you very much. And you may have noticed a fine piece of, not really crystal, but just some glasses with etchings on them in front of you. Those are compliments of the Georgia Guard Insurance Trust. So the spouses this morning received a little coffee mug with the Georgia or Guard Spouses Matter. What is it? What is the logo? Anyway, they got a mug this morning that was provided by the Guard Insurance Trust, and these glasses are yours. And there's some extra ones in the back if you want to take two. And last but not least, I want to thank the National Guard Association of Georgia Conference team this year. If you had a part, and watch how many people stand up, if you had a part in making this conference happen, please stand. Okay, so I was wrong. Some of them skipped out already. This is probably half of them, but I want to personally thank each and every one of you for your efforts. It's absolutely amazing the work that happens behind the scenes. So they're going to start working tomorrow morning when we have our 8:30 meeting. They're going to start working on next year's program to see if we can make it just a little bit better. I encourage you to offer us your feedback, to tell us what went well and what didn't go so well, because I promise you we'll try to incorporate it next year. And then finally, I want to thank the folks that serve as the glue that holds everything together when it comes to this organization. The ones that make this more special every single year, the ones that have been wowing us for over 20 years now. Marshall and Dee Dee, please stand up and let us recognize you for your efforts. Come on, stand up. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, folks, just the promise, the last thing. Remember, we have a DJ downstairs this year, so the band's not up here. I know that's a bit of a disappointment, but think about it. You can go down and you can shake your groove thing while you're eating the chicken wings, so it's really close. Or if you want to imbibe a little bit, I'd ask that as you leave in the mad rush, please don't take the centerpieces because they're not, sometimes you can take them with you, but don't take them with you because somebody owns them and I'd have to pay for them. So again, thanks again for each of you coming this weekend and for your continued support of the association. This 2019 annual conference and associated business session is now adjourned.